A recent announcement made by South Africa's president that several African leaders will be traveling to Moscow and Kiev on a peace mission has been welcomed by some political analysts in South Africa. The leaders are expected to travel to Russia and Ukraine to help find a resolution on the ongoing conflict between the two countries, cognizant that Africa is highly impacted by the war. Here's more details of that in this report.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa recently announced that the Russian and Ukrainian presidents have agreed to receive an African leaders mission that will visit their capitals. The initiative to travel to Ukraine and Russia was drawn up by South Africa, Zambia, Senegal, the Republic of Congo, Uganda, and Egypt. Ramaphosa says African countries are suffering because of the Ukraine-Russia conflict.
I think it's in the best interest of Africa because of world energy prices went up, food prices went up, so they would want to see the conflict end so that perhaps the cycle of conflict or the cycle of crisis that has been happening since at least 2020 can at least bring light in terms of the living realities of most Africans.
Sithole asserts that it's critical that these leaders should adopt a neutral approach in their efforts to resolve the conflict.
South Africa has been perceived to lean more or less to Russia. The West has not been happy with that posturing in terms of how South Africa has been seen to lean towards Russia. So the prospects now is how does South Africa, and along with other African countries, how do they present themselves as honest brokers? Also looking at how they have voted in terms of the UN within this issue. You can imagine in the first instance, about 51% of African countries voted, they were absent in terms of the vote, in terms of condemning Russia. So already I think that's the complex issue where Africa has to position itself as an honest broker in this case.
And it has become clear that all attempts by Europe and the West to stop the war in Ukraine has not been successful. And my sense is that the delegation from African countries to go and try to broker peace or to end the war in Ukraine should be seen as an attempt by Africa to bring a solution in the war that has lasted for some time. And I think if they've got all the good reasons and the proper approach to stop the war, it's something that should be appreciated.
When announcing the trip to Moscow and Kiev, President Ramaphosa indicated that the Russian and Ukraine presidents are ready to welcome the African leaders delegation and have discussions on how the conflict can be brought to an end. President Ramaphosa has not given any specific timelines for the visit or any other details. Yahya Jammeh for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.